In the past 5 years, I've tried nearly every lead generation method, starting from cold email, cold SMS, Instagram DMs, and now running paid ads for the past 2 years for my AI agency and for other software businesses. And one thing holds true on the way that the world is changing. Cold email and cold outreach is slowly dying, whereas paid ads and content is king, especially in a trust recession. And in this video, I'm going to go over why you should transition from cold outreach to paid ads, weighing the time that you're spending, the money that you're spending, and figuring out what is best for you and why transitioning to paid ads and learning paid ads is the future. So if you run cold outreach, I'm just going to take a look at the example of cold email, because probably the most effective cold outreach method besides, between cold email, cold SMS and cold DMs, is cold email is probably the most effective. You're going to reach more decision makers on cold email. So we're going to stick with cold email. You're probably using instantly. You're doing a lot in management, right? So I'm going to use the statistics of 3,000 emails per booked call, because one of my friends, he runs a cold email agency. And he's been doing it for a while. And for him, it's going to take 3,000 emails per booked call. He runs this currently. I haven't ran cold email in a year, so a lot has changed. But he's running cold emails currently with Instantly. He even automates Instantly through Cursor. But what he's experiencing is that he needs to send 3,000 emails to get a booked call. And there's a call that actually shows on a call, right? And so let's do the math here. So if you have a sales team, or you yourself wants to have a decent volume of calls to do every single day, is you obviously want 5 booked calls per day, right, at a minimum. And so essentially, doing the math, on a daily basis, you need to have the bandwidth to send out 15,000 emails per day to get 5 booked calls. And how much does this cost, right? If you don't run cold email, here's what it would cost, right? You need 34 domains, 3 inboxes each, basically 102 emails to send emails from, right? And don't forget, if you're setting up everything from scratch, you have initially, when you set everything up, there's a 2-week warm-up period in setting up your email. So when you buy all these things, you can't even send out emails immediately, right? And in order to run this process, you're looking at between spending $600 and $900 per month to run a infrastructure that sends out 15,000 emails per day to get 5 booked calls per day, right? Between $600 and $900 per month, depending on which software you're using. But this is your domain costs, right? The cost to have each inbox, to Google Workspace, Inframail, whatever you're using, Outlook. The automation tool, Instantly, GMass, ManyReach, and the deliverability tools, because you don't want to put in a bunch of emails and have it just hit spam. Right? And I haven't even talked about tools now that you need to personalize the email, right? So if you actually read it and respond to you, right? This is just the infrastructure to get the emails delivered, right? And so what you're going to experience, just outside of money, is you're going to spend 20-30 hours initial setup, right? To make sure things are warmed up, to get the lead list, all these things. And you're spending 5 to 10 hours to manage, because you still got to respond to the emails, right? And then you got to call the leads, you got to manage a pipeline. You're looking at 20-30 hours setup, 5 to 10 hours per week in management. Now, likewise, on the other side of running paid ads is, let's say we take the exact $600 on the low side and take that money that we would run on cold email, and what would the experience if we run as a paid ad? Let's say we're still selling a service that's $1,500 a month, right? And on cold email, we're selling a service for $1,500 per month. On ads, we're selling a service for $1,500 per month. But what does the math look like, right? Here, if you're running a very aggressive paid ad or a very aggressive offer, you're going to get a cost per lead of $10 or less, which means that, let's say you have a 50% call booking rate, you're getting $20 per booked call. So if you have $600 in ad spend, you get 30 booked calls. So from the 30 booked calls, let's say you're able to close just only 1 call. A 3 3% close rates, right? You only have a 3% close rate on the booked calls, then you close the deal for $1,500 less. But you're seeing that you're spending an hour to set up the ads, and then you're spending an hour a week to manage the ads. So with the same $600, you still get the 1,500 client or whatever client that you're signing on. But instead of spending 20, 30 hours at 5 to 10 hours per week, you're spending nearly 10x less time by running paid ads and 10x more, right? Of course, you need to dial in your offer, dial in your paid ads. You still need to learn the same thing that you need to learn in any cold email. And what I've experienced is that increasingly, due to laws that they have on email and cold outreach, is there's so many more laws that are out of your control that is also outside of Instantly and Gmass's control. Whereas running paid ads on Meta, Google, YouTube, TikTok, well, there is laws, but paid ads isn't going any away anytime soon. And the platform's changing depends on Zuckerberg, depends on these platforms. There won't be a federal law banning, spammy emails, banning spammy ads. Meta wants to make money. But because there's no entity out there for cold emails that gets any incentive for having lenient cold email laws, right? So in that itself, the trajectory in the next couple of years favors paid ads more than cold email, just because of the incentives that people have to allow these platforms to continue. And if you want us to work with you one-on-one, help you transition from cold email to paid ads, or just start out your agency in general and make $10,000 per month or more in your first 90 days, then book a call with us below and to see if we're a good fit.